How to lower your blood sugar fast. If we take all of your blood in your entire body and we look at how much sugar is supposed to be in it to have normal blood glucose, did you realize it's only 1 teaspoon of sugar? Prediabetes is 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, and diabetes is only 2 teaspoons of sugar. Meanwhile, in your muscles, you hold about 125 teaspoons of sugar. And I think a lot of people are concerned about taking medication and the side effects, so they're looking at ways to naturally bring the blood sugar down. And that's important because medicine is set up to manage your symptoms. But the big question is, when you take this medication, where is this blood glucose going? One medication works by, and I'm not kidding, expanding your fat cells so there's more space to put that sugar in. Another medication works by taking the sugar that goes through the kidneys, stopping the reabsorption of it, allowing the sugar to go through into the urine. And then another way that diabetic medication works is by turning down the liver's production of sugar. Because when someone's a diabetic, a lot of their blood sugar is not even coming necessarily from the diet. It's coming from their own liver, making a tremendous amount of glucose. But my question is a little bit deeper. Like, why do you have high blood glucose in the first place? Where is that coming from? And how do we deal with that? We're going to answer that today. Let's go through 7 tips. And the last one is the most important that will explain everything. So let's start with number 7. Muscle is a sugar sink. So after someone eats a meal, a lot of the muscle takes up this sugar and then it stores it as glycogen. If your muscles are filled up with sugar, they won't take any more in. What happens then is that sugar is then converted to fat. But if the muscles are not filled and there's space in there, the muscle will absorb this excess sugar. Now, this is important because we can use this data to help lower our blood sugar very quickly. Because when the muscle starts contracting, it needs that glucose to work, aka exercise. When you exercise, you suck the glucose from your bloodstream into your muscle. So by adding contraction and exercise, we immediately pull the sugar out of our blood and reduce it. Now the question is, what type of exercise would be the best, and then when would be the best time to do this? Well, it just so happens that a walk after dinner makes a huge improvement in the lowering of your blood glucose. Go for a walk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes if you can do it. After dinner, that's going to significantly drop your blood glucose. But think about what most people do after dinner. They go sit for 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 hours and then they go to bed. So all that sugar kind of stays in their blood, some goes in the muscle, but it's not used. But there's something even bigger that you can do. You can do resistance training, increasing the capacity of that storage. So building more muscle can greatly help your blood sugar. All right, let's go to number 6, the order of what you eat. Now, same meal, same food, same calories, different order dramatically makes a difference on your blood sugar. Here's the order that you should eat your food: protein, vegetables, fat, then your starch. What do most people do? They start with the bread. In fact, I'm not even recommending you eat the starch or sugar, but if you do, make sure it's last. Why? Because if you actually eat the protein, vegetable, and fat first, you greatly nullify the blood sugar spike. The sequence of what you eat is very important. And you can literally create an improvement of 30 to 40% in your blood sugar spikes just by changing the order of what you eat. I have a free download that I want to give to you. This free download is my daily routine in a checklist. This is a routine that I use every day to feel like I'm 18 years old, even though I'm 60 years old, and I want to give it to you for free. And so there's a little link down below. Click it and definitely download that. Next one is vinegar. I would recommend apple cider vinegar. 1 to 2 teaspoons in a glass of water. So you want to dilute it. Drink it with a straw so you don't get a lot of it on your teeth. The acetic acid in this drink helps interfere with the enzymes that break down starch into sugar. So the less starch that gets converted into sugar, the less sugar ends up in your bloodstream. It'll even work with white vinegar, but I recommend using apple cider vinegar. Get something that's organic, that's raw, that has the mother in there, which just means it's just a higher quality product. The only time you wouldn't want to do this is if you have an ulcer or gastritis. Okay, so you don't want to do that. Number 4, your liver is a sugar machine at night. So your liver actually can make sugar and this can actually elevate your blood glucose, especially when you get up in the morning. And this happens because of a problem called insulin resistance. So there's a problem with the body sensors, and then the pancreas doesn't get the message that we have enough insulin, so then it makes more. And so now we have a situation with the liver and insulin is just not working. And so now the liver has to make a lot of sugar because it thinks it doesn't have enough, so it starts making all the sugar, and it's raising your blood glucose. The majority of blood sugar in a diabetic situation comes from the liver because of this situation. And what metformin does is it makes the body more sensitive to insulin. And so then the liver makes less sugar. But there just so happens to be a natural version of metformin based on some powerful research. It's called berberine. It doesn't nearly have the side effects because there's a black box warning on metformin that it can create some dangerous problems. In addition to that, it can deplete your B12 and even B1. But the research on berberine is very parallel to metformin. I will put a link down below of that research so you can show your doctor and make that decision. Number 3, kitchen closed after dinner. So let's say, for example, you eat a meal at 9 a.m. in the morning, and then you eat the identical meal at 9 p.m. You're going to get a completely different response with blood sugar. Why? Because of timing. In the morning, your insulin is most sensitive. It's most functional. At night, you have the most insulin resistance. So in other words, when you eat at night, you're going to have a lot more problems with your blood sugar than in the morning. And this relates to what a lot of people are stuck in, which is snacking after dinner. It's the worst thing possible. So one of the most important things you can do for your blood sugar is after dinner, put a sign on your refrigerator, the kitchen is closed. And that's also going to help you sleep, and that's also going to reduce your getting up in the middle of the night, urinating as well. Okay, we're at number 2, is sitting still. Okay, you're inactive. Prolonged sitting creates insulin resistance in the muscle within hours, not years, hours. We know this from bed rest studies. You take a healthy young person and put them on bed rest, and their glucose control shoots downward really quickly, almost to a pre-diabetic level within days. So again, we're talking about the muscles and how important this muscle sink is, the storage for blood sugar. Super important. What you want to do is you want to break up your sitting at least every hour, but I would prefer you to do it every 30 minutes. Just get up, go for a walk, start moving, just move your body. Now, another thing you can do while you're sitting at your desk is you can do heel raises. They've done research on this just by pumping that calf up and down while you're sitting behind your desk periodically can help lower your blood sugar. It's pretty wild. So a lot of people ask me, what supplements do I recommend? Now, of course, I'm not biased of my own high quality supplement line, but if you go to Amazon and type Dr. Berg supplements, you'll find more information. Let's get to number 1. Stop eating the stuff that is creating the problem in the first place. It's too much sugar. So why aren't doctors telling people to stop eating sugar and hidden sugar? Starches. A starch is not classified as a sugar, but it really is sugar on a chain. Okay, that's what starch is. And it creates a blood sugar spike higher than actual table sugar. What's really wild is when you go to a dietitian or even a doctor, they're gonna recommend cutting down on your sugars, okay? They're gonna tell you to watch your sugars. They might say everything in moderation. That is not good advice. You need to stop eating the sugar because just a little bit will keep that blood sugar up and down. What we wanna do is bring the sugar down to a point where your body converts over into burning fat, okay? That's called ketosis. Once your body is in ketosis, which means you got to bring your glucose below 50 grams of carbohydrates per day. I would recommend bringing it down to 30 grams per day. Then your body is burning fat. And when that happens, guess what? Your appetite goes down. Your cravings go down. It makes it easy to stick to this plan. In fact, nothing's going to work without number 1. Now, there's actually one more that's even more important than number 1 because it includes several of these tips at the same time. I'm talking about the best way to give an overloaded system time to rest between meals, and it's called intermittent fasting. And I created an entire video on it right here that's super important to learn about. So watch this video now so you can have all of the knowledge about how to do it and the details.